Hey everyone, Joe here from ActionX. Welcome to What's in the Tube. Welcome back. If this is your third Walker Season 2 episode review. It feels like I've been doing Walker now this season for months, and it's only been 3 weeks. It's been a while. It's been a while. This week on Walker, we kind of took a little bit of a step back. Kind of like, I wouldn't say it's a filler episode, mind you. It was more like a kind of like, we're calming the horses. This isn't a criminal. This isn't like we're chasing a bad guy here. This is mostly focusing more on the family feud and kind of giving us a much more deeper insight to why this feud is so imperative for us to have a little bit more of an understanding of as we progress further into the season. Which again, I'm very surprised that by the end of it, I'm well, not surprised. I'm still very much. I'm happy that Walker does things at their own pace. They don't necessarily have to follow the age old like let's drag out this certain plot point till like we decide okay enough's enough. Let's do a review. Now it's like boom boom boom. We're getting to it. We're figuring it out and we're moving on like quickly. And again, like I said, during the season one reviews, the pace they were going through, I honestly was just curious to see how the hell they were going to do the entire story for season one for out 18 episodes, and it actually worked. So I give them credit there. But here it's like I can see how they would do it. I still want to see how they're going to do it. And yeah, but overall, with this episode specifically, it definitely gave us more of an understanding of the characters, the overall feud, and then also where we stand with the whole, just the gravity of the situation and how I feel like this feud is gonna last the whole season. This isn't something that's gonna like really go away after a while, but yeah. So with that being said, let's go for the Butcher recap and talk about this week's episode of Walker. So we begin. Cordell is on the couch. Even though he has bedroom, he's sleeping. He's having a little nightmare. Well, mostly recycled footage from back in episode one of the season of the night of the fire. And one key important element to remember here is that Walker had a lantern with him at the time. So by the time we cut back, we kind of had the assumption that young Walker had a little bit of an involvement here, but we don't quite get that acknowledgement just quite yet. We cut to the next day. For the entire Walker family, it's time to wind down, not focus on criminal activity or any sort of drama stuff. It's the annual chili cook-off. And the Walker family wants to win since the restaurant that they conveniently own, the grand prize is having that exact chili recipe on display for everyone to buy. But again, August makes a great point. We own the restaurant. We could just put it regardless. But Grandma Walker's like, nah, we don't need that. We can do it ourselves. We can win the old-fashioned way and still keep it in the family. Meanwhile, while this is all happening, we get a little bit of like the whole tradition, like it's been a week sort of thing, where we're kind of like just surveilling the insides of the Walker house for the week. Just seeing everyone kind of being chill at home, just for some reason everyone's just chilling at home. The only thing to note is first of all, that Stella's still getting voice messages from Trevor, but obviously we don't know where he is or what he's up to. But he's still trying to get in contact with her, but she's not ready to really deal with him just quite yet. And the other thing is that we get the actual face reveals for the people who are watching the Walkers, which turned out to be Serrano's men. As soon as they hear from Liam that Serrano is going to get prosecuted, he's going to get in, and the surveillance dudes get a little bit scared because they think as soon as Serrano starts revealing details about everything, they'll be the first to go because they're kind of like the smaller fish. What Serrano was going to plan to do with the Walkers is kind of like a big question. I am a little bit disappointed that it isn't related to anything Walker did in his past, because they did mention the military thing. I said this in the season 2 predictions. They haven't really used that element yet, so I was kind of bummed out it wasn't connected. Well, it was connected, but it wasn't connected the way I wanted to, if that makes sense. But continuing on from that point, I do. They start trying to burn. The main dude starts trying to get everything like ready to be cleaned up, moving on to the next thing. Getting out of here. But the other dude's like, no, no, no. We could maybe find another person who hates Walker that'll still pay us to do it. And the guy literally says like, who the hell else is gonna pay us to hate the Walkers or to spy on the Walker? Who hates them so much for them to like give us that type of money? And you'd be surprised how many people really hate the Walkers. So regardless, they don't hit the kill button just quite yet. But the chili contest is going on. August accidentally leaves a stove mid by the kitchen, which I'm like, oof. That definitely does not give Walker any sort of like ability to kind of be like that calm down he's been trying to be the last couple months. He steps outside and Grandpa Walker, obviously knows what's up, and he's saying, you shouldn't really be worrying about this anymore. It's been a long time, but Cordell feels guilty, and now that they're actually moved in back next door, they still feel really guilty about. He still feels really guilty about it. He wants to try to make amends. He wants to try and like actually mend the bridge, try to end this feud. Grandpa Walker's like, you shouldn't, like, don't get involved anymore. Like, we had our arguments back in the day. Now we could just move forward, but this is Cordell we're talking about. He's not ready to like leave it there just quite yet. He wants to keep trying to make a change for them, but and Walker, he's just stubborn as is. Stella and the young Daverson boy are still taking care of the horse from last week, and sad to say, its time is coming soon. Not to die, but more like its shelter placement, as the Walkers can bring in another horse right now because it's just too much work and extra responsibility. And of course, the Daversons don't even have anywhere to put them, so they don't even have a place for it. But Stella did say that she managed to get a couple more days for the horse at the Walker Ranch before they have to consider finding it a new home. So it gives them a little bit of time. We go back to the station, and Mickey's taking her sweet time to finish her report on the undercover op because she's not quite ready to go back to reality yet. Her former man's death has kind of really left an imprint on her, and she's not quite ready to go back to Trey and go back to her old life yet, which is again similar to what Walker did back at the start of the season. Because the reality of it's like there was something there, and maybe she could have had a life there, but now it's over. Like that undercover life she lived, it's over now. It's time to go back, and she's just not quite ready yet. And Trey gives her a call, trying to calm her down, trying to ease her into back, to like where things were before, but a slip up happens and she just like backs out and like say, let me finish my report. I gotta do this. I gotta go. Also, that shot of the brisket was so freaking good. But here's a hot take. So this has been said before somewhere in an earlier review. I went to Texas in March. I know, traveling in a pandemic, that it was non-essential. I understand. It was risky. It was still during the early vaccine days. I get that. I understand that. But I'm fine. I didn't get COVID, and I'm fine. But the thing that did happen was I finally got to try the brisket from the movie Chef. Well, that what was the name of it? The Texas OG barbecue place from Chef, and also it's really well known down in Austin. I finally went to go. Oh man, it was amazing. But sad to say, the brisket was a little bit too deli meat for my taste. I was really expecting like I don't know what I was expecting. Maybe when I do go back there, maybe next year or 2023, I do want to give it another chance. Maybe it was still jet lag affecting me. I really don't know, but as much as I love the look of it, I was not sold 100% on the taste. Nor do I ever want to go back to another brisket place unless it's that one. So I'll say it there. But the rest of the meats were delicious. Turns out Trey's picking up the brisket for the Walker family. Not sure if it's pertaining to the chili. I think it is, but I'm not really quite sure. I don't know how to make chili, to be honest with you. Though I wouldn't be surprised if that was the case. Trey tries to get a little bit more insight about like what happened to Mickey on the inside, and Walker's being very selective with what he could tell because again, it's still a police undercover op as well as it's it's Mickey's thing to say to him, not his, because that's undermining the relationship. And Trey's coming from a good place, like he really wants to know what's going on with Mickey so he can help her, not because he's nosy, but at the same time, you really don't want to figure out something that the other person didn't tell you directly. Because that means like, oh, you wanted to figure this out for yourself. You didn't do it for me. Or at least that's where an argument could be perceived as. I do know Walker eventually does drop by the Daversons, and also yes, the male Daverson is in fact the soon-to-be ex-husband. Although, why the heck is he so close to them is a big question mark. We really need like a whole what happened to the Daversons after the fire episode at some point this season, because I know he and the actual Daverson that Walker was dating, they were married and they have a kid together. The thing is that he's really too close to it unless like they told him like a whole different side of things. I really don't know, to be honest with you. Again, we really need a flashback episode or something to like really iron it home for me. But Walker shows up. He's just there for a peace offering. Saying, "Look, there's a chili cook-off happening. I'm a bar/restaurant. I think it would be great if you guys can come and get back in the community, get back into it, and also actually participate in the chili cook-off." And they agreed, like, this would be a nice way to like start the friendly road to repairment. So that's nice on their front. Picking from that point onwards, I want to say we get to the chili cook-off. I believe, I'm not entirely sure. I think we just go straight to the chili cook. I know at some point Grandma Walker was a bit very against them showing up since. From her experience, she's like, nope, that woman's only going to bring trouble. Like, you just brought trouble to this, like, friendly, very nice, family-friendly environment. You're going to regret this. So we cut to the day of the cook-off. It's all happy times. Like, this is the one thing I love about Texas. It was a very nice, familiar place. It very was. I wish there were more things open at the time so I can, like, truly get the experience. But sadly, when I went down there, it wasn't entirely everything open up. So I was a little bit bummed out by it. But picking up from that little silver lining, where do we go from there? I think so everyone's like participating. There's apparently a thing called chili donuts, which I'm like, that should sound disgusting and fiery, but I'll allow it. I want to say, so everyone's having fun. There's some glaring between the Walkers and the Daversons. Like, this feud's not over. There's more stuff that has to be said. Trey's working on a corner there when Nikki shows up. This is the first time they've seen each other physically since the undercover op began, and then also the first time that Mickey is able to be fully Mickey with him, and it's a very nice reunion. They're just hugging, like just acknowledging like that they missed each other, but there's still some tension there. Mickey's not 100% ready to like go back into it, and Trey's trying to do his best to like kind of like understand the situation, but also like not broach on it too much. It's like, again, it's a family event day, and also the fact is that that's all she's been doing for the last few months. So it's kind of take a little bit of a break from that and kind of like just relax, settle back into where things were at is the proper direction he's taking, which is great. Walker and I forgot her name. It's been a while. I know she was in. I know the actress's name. Jerry. We're just talking about the event. She's trying the Walkers chili, and they're just talking about the whole event. And like, it seems to say they have not yet talked about the kiss thing at all. It's been 2 months, and they still haven't talked about it. Which I'm like, y'all better do something soon, because like, I swear to God, this is gonna get annoying. And it is gonna get annoying since after Walker leaves to continue hosting the event. A couple of attractive ladies show up to ask Jerry, hey, is Walker single? And at first she's like, no, like she's being a little bit defensive, like, because she still has a crush on Walker, but at the same time, she doesn't want to have a crush on him. So she's like, actually, no, wait, he's not married anymore. And they're like, free pass. And it's like Jerry has said more probably like she wants to be with Walker, but at the same time, she doesn't want to be with Walker, if that makes any sense. Eventually, at some point, Mickey does get a little frustrated with Trey, and that's revealed that when he came down to the bar during her undercover sting, it not only risked the operation, it risked her life, it risked his life. Everything was at risk at that moment just wanting to for him to see her, and she's so angry about this, so she kind of storms off, not out of the area, but just outside. As the finalists go down to, of course, Walker and Daverson, Grandma Walker takes a little bit of a break to check in on Mickey, and they have a bit of a heart-to-heart. It's nice, that, even though, like, Mickey is part of the family. She's like she's still like a real part of the family, and like Grandma Walker still treats her like anyone else. So like it's sweet how like grandparents become when they get older. I know at some point Liam and one of the Daversons get into an argument because one of the Daversons purposely shoved Liam in, which dropped most of the chili from the latest pot. So they're about to get really into it because again, there's still a lot of conflict here that's about to happen. But Walker does his best to try and defuse the situation. Even Grandma Walker gets in on it once the Grandma Daverson tries to say something, or tries to like, look, this is a friendly event, you know, everyone's having fun, and then Grandma Walker just casually throws a slap like, until you showed up. So it's like there is like really like a lot of issues here, really a lot. So I believe it's a tie. So to determine it, Walker being the host has to blind taste test the chili, which I'm like, that's very unbiased since I'm pretty okay. First of all, even if Walker can just play with it, I never tried my mom's chili. It's still a bit redundant, but also they decided to like make it more similar, make it more fair by having him blind tasted, so he just doesn't know which batch is coming from. And although he knows his mother's was the best, he knows that in this current situation, it's better if the Daversons win. So he gives the Daversons the win. And they use this as a platform to kind of like say like, you know, we're back. We fell a long time ago, but now we're back home. We're ready to like make a name for ourselves again. Basically, like really trying to like get back in with the folks and putting down the Walkers a little bit, which I'm like, huh. Grandma Walker was right. She really was right. So also, yeah, but by the way, I forgot at some point the surveillance dudes, one of them actually tells them like, hey, we actually found a buyer. He's willing to like pay up a lot of money. And then the other dude was like, okay, good. He immediately shoots him. Like not even gives a fuck in the world, which I'm like, great. So we head back to the Walker home. Grandma Walker wants to know why did he choose them, even though he knew that hers was the better one. And he doesn't deny that, but he just does say like, look, the Daversons just needed a win. They've had a series of L's since they came back home, and even beforehand, they deserved the win. And, you know, maybe it wasn't the one that was earned, but like, you know, it was close enough. But Grandma Walker does eventually get to hear like the full side of what, you know, Walker's been dealing with lately with his nightmares, and then him telling her like, I know for a fact I brought a lantern in that house, into that barn house that night. I know that for a fact. I can never deny that. It can never be disproven by my memory. It happened. So he's putting the entire fire on himself. And he starts crying because, like, you know, he cost the Daversons their father figure. They're the father of their family. They cost them their livelihood, their home, everything, all because of Walker's stupid. Like, I still don't think that was the whole story. Like, what any of these stories, like, there's more to this story. There's like a bigger piece of the puzzle we have yet to figure out, or it could be straightforward. Who knows? But sad to say is that it turns out the new buyer of the surveillance people happens to be the current Mr. Davison himself. So Walker just confessed, and there's video footage of him confessing. This is going to be fun. Back in Mickey's house, she finally arrives home. Trey's happy for her to be back, and immediately wants to kind of like get her back settled in. But Mickey decides to hang up the painting that her old guy painted well before his death. That's kind of like just a symbol that he's still present in her life, even though he's gone. And Trey's trying to like calm her down a little bit, trying to like, you know, get her back ease, and you know, Mickey does finally get to speak up on her current emotional state, but it doesn't really get that deep since she's like immediately switches to Trey like, I love you, I miss you, let's fuck. And I'm like, I really hope this isn't Mickey's way of just avoiding the situation. I really hope, because I know Trey hasn't gotten on in a few months, but like, whatever. But to end up the episode, Walker's about to head to bed. He just fixes a frame of Emily and his kids, and then we notice you notice this little piece in the frame that like no offense, like I know like these guys like the NSA will never find these cameras. I'm like, I look at this frame, I'm like, this is sticking out like a sore thumb. Like once you notice it, you really can't, you know, you really can't. But like Walker's like standing around a little bit more, like being a little bit coy, but it's like he knows something's up here, something's really up, and now he's got to figure out what's going on. But that ends the episode. And in the longest, Walker just looking around like, what do I do? What do I do? Like, what's the next step? And yeah. So again, the chili cook-off episode was a fun idea, kind of like a fun way to kind of like, make things a little fun again. Get a little comedy going here, but also really dealing with the heart of the matter of the theme of the season. Learning about the core of this conflict and where these characters are like feeling about each other right now. As these episodes pass by, is Stella and the new young Daberson really going to be the ones to like actually kind of like mend their family? Probably not. It's probably going to have some sort of conflict at some point, to be honest with you. I will say the surveillance stuff was a bit disappointing that it didn't end up being Walker's military background or something related to that. It was just a simple, the gang, one of the gangs probably got into their house and like planted all the surveillance so they can have some sort of tracking on Walker. So I'm like, I really hope again, like I know Walker goes at their own pace, i.e. a little bit faster than what I'm normal to, but I really hope the surveillance stuff doesn't get really wrapped up before the end of the year, because that was like a kind of a big cliffhanger moment you left last season, and you really don't want to like wrap it up too quickly. So but regardless on the case, I'm still very eager to see where more of this goes, and also with Mickey's eventual departure, with Lindsay Morgan's exit from the show, I'm really curious what they're gonna do specifically, like to write her up, because they have like the platform for him, but I'm really curious, like, where do you go from there? But we'll see soon. I'm gonna give this episode 1 3/4 thumbs up. Still enjoyed it. Fun episode. Go make some chili. Let me know in the comments below what did you think of this week's episode. And I think that's gonna do it for me today, everyone. So if you're unaware, this has been What's in the Tube from ActionX, reviewing every episode in the second season of Walker. If you want to know what we're doing normally on What's in the Tube besides our Walker episode reviews, we're currently doing Nancy Drew's season 3 episode reviews each and every Sunday mornings after a brand new episode on Friday nights on the CW, or free the next day on the CW app. We are also doing the Rookie season 4 episode reviews each and every Monday mornings after a brand new episode on Sunday nights on the CW, on ABC, or on Hulu the next day. We're also doing Stargirl reviews each and every Wednesday mornings after a brand new episode on Tuesday nights, normally on the CW, or free the next day on the CW app. This Wednesday is our final Stargirl video for now. It's our season 2 review. No spoilers needed. And we also do Doom Patrol season 3 episode reviews, normally every Saturday mornings after a brand new episode, normally on Thursdays on HBO Max, but that's currently wrapped up. If you don't care about Walker, you're in luck. We'll be back next week for a brand new episode. Then afterwards, we're going on break for Thanksgiving for 2 weeks, and then we'll be back in December to kind of wrap it up for a couple weeks before 2021 ends. So we only have 3 more episodes for the year, and then we'll be back for the second proper year of Walker, another year. But we'll see. I'm actually very curious to see how they're going to... what's the big thing? Because they know when they're going to end it. Like, what's the big thing they're going to leave us teasing until next year? I'm curious. But again, this has been What's the Do from ActionX. Please subscribe to us on youtube.com/ActionXvideos. Ring that bell for notification when our next episode review is live, which is each and every Friday mornings. Also, please also like, favorite, share this review if you want to, but it helps us get us out to other members of the Walker family who have yet to discover us. Helps us beat up that YouTube algorithm that hates me ever so much in life, and as well as sharing us for free here on the interwebs. And please follow us on social media to stay up to date with any sort of updates for the channel. But until then, stay safe out there, be good to each other, and as always, peace out.